Hi everyone, and welcome to the next lesson in our project example. In this lesson we're going to be looking at the visual side, so the visualizations in Codesys. This is a very similar approach for other PLCs and SCADA packages and HMI packages. It's basically just passing structures to our visualization elements, which we have been through in a previous lesson. So before we sort of jump in and have a look at that, let's just have a look at how this particular project is set up, because it might not be immediately obvious what's happening. So in this system, I have a base screen, and that base screen consists of other screens that are built into it. So I have a top section of my screen, which is the navigation section. I have a main section, which is highlighted now, which is going to be the main display image. At the moment, it defaults to alarms because that's the first screen that would get loaded if nothing was passed to the system. And then at the bottom, I have my sort of bottom bar, which has a miniature alarm overview on it, and also has the acknowledge all button. So you can see the individual elements on the navigation pane here. So I have my bottom panel and my main top menu, and then I have my main screens, which are here. So there's only 3 screens in this sort of example project. So my alarm page, overview page, which has many sort of faceplates, which are set up as sort of visual managers to our structured data. And then a simulation page, which again is the same. These manage our simulation data that we went through in our input mapping lesson. So yeah, let's sort of jump in and have a look at our main screen, our overview page. So you can see here, if I click on one of these valves here, you can see that all that we're passing to this is our structured data. And if I click configure on our references, we're set up as a valve H for horizontal. If I come to my structured faceplates here and I go for display, you'll see that's my valve H there. And if you cast your mind back to our visualization lesson earlier in the project, I said that we have sort of dedicated visualizations or faceplates for data sets, our data structures. All I'm passing into this particular one here is data, which is of type DUT QT valve. So this is not only the structure now that our code interacts with, it's also where our SCADA and HMI interacts with through a system such as this. So let me close that. And it's the same for our dial here for this quality monitor here. It's the same for our pump. That pump looks a little bit strange because I have some additional things on there, so additional options. So direction, I can set the direction to 1 or 0. 1 meaning it's facing to the left, and 0 meaning it's facing to the right. So I don't have to have lots of different objects that are different orientations and things like that. Same for the tank. The tank's got additional options, so what mode the bar's running in, whether it's got high, changing color, all that sort of stuff is just packaged up into a nice easy option. And then the units for my dial on there, and the name, and then most importantly the data. So you can get a feel here that that everything is simply past its structure. These here are something that I call quick plates. So if I right click on one of these when we're running, this quick plate is loaded into the foreground. It's made like its correct size and loaded into the foreground so you can interact with it. And again, if we click that and have a look at what we pass to it, we simply pass the data here, and then I also have a quick plate variable which says it's the one that needs to be shown, so to make it visible. So because there's many of these plates sat on top of each other under here for each one of these systems. So let me go online and we'll have a quick look at it in runtime. Okay, so the system's now active. The reason why we're seeing some strange sort of question marks and statuses and things is because the system's not in simulation mode. So everything at the moment is failed because we don't have any statuses coming back for our valves. We don't have any statuses coming back for our switches or any of our analog systems. So currently the system is showing something's failed and in unknown positions. If I go ahead and click on one of these valves, you'll see that we get our quick plate pop-up, and this allows me to put the valve into auto. It allows me to put it into hand and then open and close it, but we're not seeing anything happen on the Mimic because the actual valve is not in simulate, so it's expecting real IO to update it, which obviously it won't. So let me put it into auto, and let's turn the simulation system on. So if we come to our simulation page, you'll see that this is now available to be interacted with. So let's turn simulation on. You can see that SimActive is turned on all of these data plates here. And then if I turn on auto feedback as well, we then get the feedback for our valves. So if I go back to my overview page, now we are seeing real statuses coming back for our valves, which is great. This proves that our system is in simulate and it is responding correctly to our sort of auto feedback requests. So I can go ahead and put all of these valves into auto. Because the system hasn't been run before, they're all starting in an off position, which isn't really available. Normally on a normal system, through an initialization process, those valves would be set to either auto or hand, depending on what we want to do with the system. But in this example project, that hasn't happened. So you can see now that things are looking a little bit nicer. This particular asset here for the tank level has no information set in it, so we don't have any real values sort of appearing here, even though we're in simulate. So if we go back to our simulation page, we can see here LT001 for the works inlet tank. You can see that we have no scale min and max set. Now, for the ease of this project, I created in my global data a memory reserve, and we can pull information back from that memory reserve by going to our recipe manager down here, persistent variables, right-clicking on the persistent vars column, and going to write for write recipe. And then if I go back to my simulation page, you'll see that we now have scale max of 10, and we have some information going in there. So let's close all of this stuff that's open here quickly, just to make it a bit easier to see what's going on across the top. And then go back to our overview page. You'll now see that we have information available in here and an actual level. And if I click on this, you see that we now have some high alarms and some releases automatically set from this alarm release offset. And remember that all of this stuff is just interacting with structures. There's no multiple tags being passed to any of this stuff. It's just a single tag with a single structure being passed to it, and that structure contains all of this information. In some cases, we might have more than one structure being passed because we might want to look at the working process structure and then also simulate structure if we're in the simulation pages. But in this case here, this would just be one structure that's passed to this. So it's saying that currently we have an alarm active. So let's go back to our base screen. And it's zoomed out slightly so I can fit it all in this window. But you can see that in our alarm overview, we currently have some alarms. So if I acknowledge all of those alarms and reset, they've all cleared now. When we go back to, I'll do it on here, when we go back to our main overview, this is now green and healthy. So there's a lot going on across this entire process, because now that we've come to this sort of visualization side, we're starting to see everything work together. But like I've sort of said on every lesson, download this and go through this as I've gone through it in the video. Pick everything apart and ask questions, because the way I see this compared to the way someone who's new sees this is very, very different. So if I haven't covered something, and I'm not going to cover the actual sort of logical control of this system in this structured data course, because we're talking about the structure. But if there's anything you don't understand from a structural point of view, then let me know, and I'll do my best to help. But realistically, to sum this this section up, all that we're doing here is creating our visualizations as sort of objects. So this valve here, this tank here, and then passing single structures, one or two, depending if we're doing simulation. These simulation pages here have more than one structure going to them, because they have both the process value, so we can see open requests, etc. But they also have the simulated data, so we can actually interact with it and change our levels as if it were in the real world. You know, where we can change the, you see the values changing down here. I can set a switch to closed or open. We see alarms raising as if it would happen if that was our real I/O. These require more than one structure to achieve that. But the whole sort of crux of this is that we're using the same data sets. It's nice and easy. Once you've created these once, if your structure changes, as long as the DUT is still referenced the same way, these structures here, these visualizations here, have access to that new information through the structured interface. So from a modification and upgrading point of view, it's still nice and easy. You're not having to reinvent the wheel all the time. You just update your structure and then go and update your visualizations, and know that that new structure information is available straight away. So yeah, download, have a go, have a look through it, and let me know if you have any questions.